Welcome to Mortgage Lending Mastery, the world's longest running podcast in the mortgage industry. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis, with over 4 decades of mortgage, real estate, and financial services experience, providing the knowledge you need to advance your mortgage practice quickly and efficiently. Hey there, welcome back to another Jen's Shots. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis. It sounds like this is the name of our podcast, but it's not. But this segment is a monologue, right? Where I'm just doing some teaching, with some comparisons. That's what these Gen Shots are. They're this versus that, for the most part. Today, however, I'm going to be talking about something I call CPCC. That's cat. I don't know what P is. It's cat, Penelope, cat, I guess. That's the only thing I could think of. Paul, and I actually learned this from a dear friend of mine, Dr. Greg S. Reed. He's the founder of Secret Knock, and he's published over 185 books as a publisher, but also written several, one of which you would know, called 3 Feet from Gold, which he wrote with Sharon Lechter, who's a friend of mine as well, who co-wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's a whole lot of stuff there. But I learned this from him. Now, I put an extra C at the end of this, or in the middle of it, I guess. I put the extra C. He talks about this quite a bit, but I want to share some stories with you about this. And maybe this will become, a new mantra of yours in your business and in your personal life. And I do think this is great for personal life too. So listen, if you're one of those people who date, or if you're someone who's married like me for almost 40 years now, I'm sorry, almost 42 years now, this is a great, and by the way, it's great for kids too. I think this is just great for everything, but CPC, and I'll just explain this as Greg put this out, is clues, patterns, and choices. Clues, patterns, and choices. And, so put yourself in this situation. I've been in this situation before, where I was doing this thing, right? And I'm talking about this thing that I was doing. I was having a meeting with somebody and they were late. No big deal. That's a clue, right? That's a clue. It happens. People are late. I've been late for things. I try not to be, but we all have things that happen. But if they're late and then the next time you meet them, they're late. And now they're using that, I wouldn't say using me or using you. I would say, that they think it's okay. It's become a pattern, right? And now we're going to talk about patterns, but more than just the pattern, it becomes complacent that it's okay. She'll understand. She'll understand. I'm just always late. She'll understand. It becomes complacent. That's when you're looking at the patterns and saying, okay, is this a pattern or is this it actually just happened a couple times and it's okay. So these are clues and then patterns and then choices, right? So once you see those clues and you determine that it's a pattern, you need to make a choice. Do you continue to work with this person? Do you continue to date this person? Do you continue to let this pattern happen? Or do you make a choice to address it, right? Address it or not address it. And so with kids, the clue is they're getting up late for school every day. And that's probably not a really good one because I already talked about late. So let me try to give you something else. The clue is they don't brush their teeth. And it's a pattern. It happens all the time. Well, you have a choice. You can let it go and they fight you and all that good stuff. You can let it go and their teeth get bad. And then you spend more money on dental expenses later. And then they don't have confidence in themselves because they don't have nice teeth. Or you can make a choice to address it and say, here are the clues that you have. Here's the pattern you have. Let me show you pictures of kids that didn't brush their teeth. Do you want to be that way? And by the way, I'm not going to pay you allowance because I'm tough, aren't I? Yeah, well, it's because I'm German and my kids grew up with great teeth and they're very successful because I put these things in front of them. But you're not going to get allowance because I need to reallocate those funds to ensure that I can pay for all the dental work that you're going to need. And by the way, it's going to hurt, right? I know it's a very dramatic example, but you get it. I know you're getting it. So have you ever been in this kind of situation where someone's showing these clues of non-performance, taking you for granted, a whole bunch of things that they could be doing. And now you've seen these patterns, but there's no C in it. It's just clues and patterns constantly, clues and patterns. And you just take it, tolerate it. I've talked about several times about your values, your core values, and putting boundaries around it. This is an example of how that might be applied. You have clues that you're working late, those clues, and you're getting home later every night. And the pattern now, how it's developed, you need to make a choice. Maybe you're headed for divorce. Maybe you're headed for some health issues. There's these clues, these patterns, and you need to make choices, but a lot of us don't make choices. We just let it ride, let it slide. It's the way that people are. But I promise your life will change differently when you see this, because this goes back again to complement or complicate what I talk about with working people. Those clues and those patterns, that now it's a pattern. If I don't make that choice, then I'm choosing to work with people that complicate my practice. And then I'm the one who suffers. They're the ones who take advantage of me. And that doesn't work in your business. It doesn't. Look, here's another story. I had this clue that I had this real estate agent that I worked with years ago, and she was really top notch in her company. And almost to the point where whenever she was networking, she would stand in the corner as if she was the queen and everyone would come and hold court with her. She would never walk around and talk to people. She just stood there like she's the queen. If you know what I am and you know what I do, you should come and talk to me. That's a clue. And the pattern is, every single time I saw her networking, she never reached her hand out. It was always everyone else reaching their hands out to her. There's a pattern. And I had to have a choice. Now, luckily I was working with her, I'll tell you how that went, but luckily I was working with her. But the clues that I had in serving the clients that she sent to us, the clue was she would get irate if one of my team members didn't return a phone call or didn't do something. And the pattern was she would do it every single time we did a loan with someone, and she would do it multiple times. Well, I had a choice. I had to look at that and say, and what are my team members thinking of me, right? Why does Jen work with this person? She made some of my team members cry. One of my team members threw a file one time, I ran out of my office and what the heck is going on? And she goes, she's such a, bad word. But what are they thinking of me? Are they seeing clues? They're seeing patterns in me, and they have to make a choice. Are they going to continue to work with me or not? Because my number one client is my team members. It's my number one client, not the referral partner, not the actual client, but my team members. And if they saw these clues, thinking, why does Jen bring her in? Oh, it's because she wants to make money. I had to make a choice, and I decided to fire her. You know what? I can't work with you anymore because you're disruptive, you're rude, you're condescending to my team members, and they're the best of the best. And I don't want to go into why you feel that you need to do that. That's your own problem. I can just tell you that we've seen the clues, we've seen a pattern develop, and now I'm making a choice that we're not going to work together. And I didn't. And she badmouthed me a little bit, and that's fine. But that's a defensive mechanism for her own inefficiencies, right? Or deficiencies. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because my life was better without that. Now my team was happy and they were more loyal and I didn't have turnover, right? And we continue to move forward, and we replaced her with someone else who was much more pleasant, much more pleasant. So I love clues, patterns, and choices in everything that we do. Everything that we do, everything that others are doing, we can see these clues, patterns, and choices. I have a friend who never responds to, and he's very famous. I'm just not going to tell you who he is, He never responds to a text. I have this thing where I write down what, during the day, right before I go to bed, I write down, how God was present in my life, what I'm I'm needing in my life. And um, it's just sort of some journaling at the end of the day, or what I want him to extract from my life because I'm taking on fear or something, or anxiety, and I want him to extract it. And it's amazing what dreams do. I dream a lot, and my dreams are so vivid. I wish I could make movies out of them. They would be the funkiest movies, but they're so vivid. Um, And when I wake up in the morning, usually I think about somebody and I just text them and say, hey, I had a dream about you, or I'm thinking about you this morning. I hope everything's good. And it's a great way to just kind of communicate randomly with people. But he never responds. It's been 2 years. I went back through our text the other day. This just happened the other day. It's why it's so prevalent for me. I went back through our text and it was like, Happy Easter. Hope you had a great summer, 4th of July. I think we did 4th of July. I think I did Thanksgiving emoji, or not emoji, but a meme. And then I did a Christmas one and a New Year's one. Never a response, not a thumbs up, not a heart. Oh, thank you. Nothing. Nothing. Clues, patterns, choices. Just got a text from a colleague of mine this morning saying, hey, between you and me, I just want you to know I'm not going to love on as many people that I've loved on in the past because there's no reciprocation. Clues, patterns, choices. Clues, patterns, and choices. And so this person, I saw him last week, actually, just last week. I said, do you ever get my text? He goes, yeah, I just, I don't. And I go, okay, it's all right. So he started talking about something he needed help. And I said, hey, can I have a conversation with you? And this was at lunch, and there were a couple of people around with us. And I said, why aren't you doing this? And I started coaching him, right? And he was almost in tears. And everyone around was like, this is brilliant. This is genius. Oh my God, Jen, it's awesome to see what you're doing. And I'm going, yeah, that's what I do, but nobody asks me, right? But he said, hey, can we talk? And I go, yeah, send me a text. I might reply. And I laughed because I do want to help him. Okay. But I said, yeah, send me a text. I might reply. And he goes, ha ha ha. Good one. Good one. But see, I brought it to his attention. That was my clues, patterns, and choices. Right? You getting the gist of this? How many people do you have this? Clues, patterns, choices. They say they're going to show up to something and they never show up. They say they'll follow through and they never follow through. And again, I'm saying never, right? That's the pattern. It's be nice. There's a clue. They didn't follow through. Don't just kick them to the curb. Okay. Look for the pattern and then make a choice. Now, here's what I did that was different. Greg says clues, patterns, choices. I decided, and I've talked about this in another Jen's Jot about being heartfelt, right? Are you mindset, mindset or heart set? I inserted after patterns conversation. So mine is clues, patterns, conversation, choice. Because what I've learned in my 60 plus years on this planet now is that sometimes people don't see the clues and they don't see the pattern, and we need to bring it to their attention. And this really falls along the lines of forgiveness that I won't talk about. You know how you're just so angry at someone, you're like, I'll never forgive them. I'll never ever forgive them. But they have no clue that they did anything wrong to you. So it's one-sided. I felt like clues, patterns, and choices was one-sided. So I said, well, how can I put CPCC? We'll put conversations in there. So I had that conversation with him, right? I had that conversation saying, hey, are you getting my text? Oh, yeah, and I don't mean to. And as I was talking to him, I'm thinking, okay, this is somewhat of a conversation. And that it was, it was with a bunch of people. So this was a little different. I couldn't say, I'm going to have a conversation with you right in front of everybody. But I kind of came back at him. I was like, yes, text me. We'll get together and I'll see if I respond. And I laughed and I said, no, I'll respond. But he got it. He gets it. I don't have to have a conversation now. He gets it. But in the case where you have these clues and these patterns, it's important for you to have a conversation. Now, going back to this real estate agent, I had a conversation several times and I made a choice to stick with her. But I had the conversation several times. Hey, listen, I was just talking to one of my team members, and you called and you said this, and it was pretty abrasive. In fact, you almost had the person in tears, and honestly, that can't happen. We're professionals. That kind of behavior just can't happen. I mean, are you okay? Is there anything we can do? Did you find that were you having a bad day? What's going on? You got to have the conversation. I usually start them with, hey, listen, something's weighing heavy on my heart. Can we talk about it? If you're a guy and it doesn't work, it's like, hey, I can't get something out of my mind. Can we talk about this? Just talk about it. Bring it up. Say there have been several times where, my team members have gotten off the phone and just been really upset at the way that you're speaking to people. And look, you guys got to be adults. You got to have an adult conversation. This is your livelihood. This is your wealth creation. This is a legacy you're leaving. And if you're not willing to have an adult conversation with someone, you're probably not supposed to be in business. Go work for somebody. Go take a W-2 and don't be client facing and don't worry about it. Just get your paycheck, you know? But you've got to stand up for yourself. You have to stand up for your team because they're your number one client, right? For your team members or for yourself because you're number one too. But having a conversation can lead then back to the beginning. Okay, now let's see what the clues are. By the way, this is great for employees, right? You see a clue, you see a pattern. You have to have a conversation. You don't just walk up to them and go, hey, sorry, you're fired. And they're like, what happened? I have no idea what's going on. This is how you grow and find that world-class team. There's a clue. Now it becomes a pattern. You need to have a conversation. And then you're looking back for more clues. Has that resolved itself? Is it made, prevalent? Are they willing to take the action on it? And now you're looking for clues again, and you're saying, hey, guess what? The clues are gone there. Maybe new clues come up, right? We all have things that, as soon as you fix one thing, something else, works or doesn't work. But you're looking for that clue again and for that pattern, then have a new conversation. This is what management and leadership is. It's that development of people, but it's also the development of external and family members and spouses, right? And people you're dating. It's all of that. Look for those clues. Look for those patterns. Have the strong conversations, the conversations that are so needed instead of just dismissive. I've just made a choice not to work with you. And then they're going, well, what the heck did I do? Right? So have the conversation, but now make a choice. And if you see a pattern consistently going back to the same clues, same patterns, same conversations, it's time to make a choice. And in the case with this real estate agent, I had done that a couple of times. And now it was time for me to make the choice to say goodbye. I was done with the relationship. And it was funny because when I was done with the relationship, one of their team members contacted me and said, what the heck? I love working with you. And I said, well, we like working with you too, but we can't work with that. And she eventually left that real estate team and started on her own and called me, I don't know, it was months or years, a year or two later or whatever, and said, hey, now that I'm not there, I want to work with you. So they are watching because she was saying, well, if Jen doesn't want to work with her, what am I missing? Maybe I shouldn't be working with her. And I'm not saying that myself or your decision to not work with someone means that everybody should not work with that person. It's your experience with that person. Have you ever had this situation where someone comes to you and says, hey, what's it like working with so-and-so? Well, that wasn't my experience, and you should listen to my experience, and you shouldn't work with them. I don't believe in that. And I've got a friend who does that, a colleague who does that. It's like, well, they did me wrong. So if you work with them, then I may not work with you. Well, then you may not. Until they do me wrong, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to plant seeds of negativity for other people. Is that making sense to you? Are you with me on that? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at the relationships that you have. And I don't want you to go through your database. I don't want you to look at your community, but you've got some appointments that are coming up. And you could even look back on some appointments you've had over the last week, some Zoom meetings, some coffee talks, the way that someone conducted a summit, the way that you were a guest someplace, and look at some of the clues, patterns, that are there. And look at your in your household today, tonight. Start looking at clothes. Is dinner always late? It is in my house because I'm always working. But I shouldn't say I'm always working. I'm not. But sometimes I have these late afternoon conversations and they go later. And my husband's like, I just ended up cooking. And I go, okay. But believe me, we cook together. We rarely cook separately. I don't cook. He doesn't cook. We cook together. And we like doing that, right? That's one of our things. But and by the way, it's not the secret to a long marriage, because people ask me that all the time. What's the secret? And I say, it's my secret. Because if I tell you it's cooking together and you start cooking together and your marriage doesn't survive, that's not fair to you, right? So I'm not going to plant those seeds, right? And by the way, cooking is not the reason. But look at these clues and patterns as you go to each one of the meetings. But CPCC on each one of these appointments, just to remind you to look for clues, patterns, so that you can make some choices with them. This is going to be so beneficial. And by the way, same thing with your clients. If you're going after clients that are startup businesses, first-time home buyers, clients that are just learning how to flip properties, clients that are brand new in the business, and you're getting different clues and patterns than people who are more top tier, or people that are mid tier, or people that are trying to be mid tier and go to top tier. Look at the type of people that you're serving, and are there clues, patterns in there that could benefit your business to be able to elevate it to an elite status, to be able to create efficiencies in your business, and so that you're more effective. Because if the clues and patterns are a thorn in your side, you might want to take them out and look at a different avatar to serve, so that you can be more efficient and effective and scale and grow and be happier. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to just take some time to look at that. And please, if you have a few minutes, head down, give us a great 5-star rating, make some comments about what you heard. And don't forget to head over to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where you can see all of my shows, all of my podcasts, and all of whenever I go out and speak, we put my speaking up there as well, so you can hear more about that. And just follow us, be part of the tribe, and be part of the team. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining Mortgage Lending Mastery. If you found value in today's conversation and would like to get support, simply go to supportfromjen.com. That's supportfromjen.com. Or reach out to me on social media. Keep watching and listening for more insider secrets, stories, strategies, and ideas to help you become a master in your business.